It's more of just like, so if I'm the only person that knows how to do SEO, right? Like I know a good amount, but obviously I know that there's other people that could help me if there's something that I don't know. And sometimes I'm kind of like in between, like, should I just figure this out myself? Or is it better if I'm like on a team that like people have been doing SEO for like years and maybe they can help me or something?
Figure it out
The thought. Yeah.
figure it out yourself. And let me tell you why, because I work like my second SEO job that I was working at, there was like a team lead and she was a phenomenal communicator. Like she was really good at communication. She had excellent communication skills, but she only knew what she did in that agency. That was her first SEO job and she was there for years. So she got promoted to team leader, but she had never did any projects outside of that or anything like that. So even though she had all these years of experience in SEO, she didn't know like what a ranking factor was. She just knew what she was doing was working, but some of the practices that she was using was outdated. And so like what can happen is you can go into an agency and work with somebody like that. And if you don't know anything, you could think that you're learning all this stuff, but you might be learning the wrong thing. And so the difference between me and the reason I was the top performer on that team, like I was the best on the team, and that was the best team in the whole agency. And the reason why I was the best performer there was because I knew things that even the team lead didn't know. Like I was teaching her SEO. Like I was teaching her what aggregate rating data was and how schema markup works and all this stuff that I was expecting that, you know, okay, like she was going to show me or like that she was going to help me with. So I feel as though the only thing that I learned from her was communication skills. Like she was way better than me in that. And it wasn't from her showing me. She didn't sit down and say, hey, you should say this. No, actually, she made me nervous as hell. Like whenever I would get on a phone call, because she was so like aggressive. So she would be like I get on a call, say, you know, this is, you know, Dre from blah, 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 blah. And then like, she'd be like, don't answer the phone like that. Like you got to do it this way. Right. But it was like an aggressive, you know, way about it. And so like, she just made me nervous. She made me not want to speak on the phone at all. Right. So long story short is what you need to do is figure out where everybody is at in the SEO community. Like, you know, surround yourself in a space where you're networking with new SEOs. And that's what I like, or like SEOs in general, like people like Michael King, people like Mark Williams Cook, right? Like people like that, like surround yourself with people like that and get to know these people and ask them, what are they doing? Right. And say, hey, you know, I'm trying something out. And I'm just curious, like, have you tried this before? Right. Not necessarily like they're busy people. They have a lot of things that they're doing. Right. But it doesn't necessarily have to be those people, but find a group of people that, you know, are in the trenches. Like 9 times out of 10, if they're in some type of group or they're like, you know, if they're in a group, like if they're in a Facebook group and they're sharing knowledge and whatever, these people most of the time know for the most part what they're talking about. It's a lot of the people that's not in the groups that you go work on these jobs, they don't know what they're talking about, right? So leverage things like Clubhouse right now because everybody's on Clubhouse, right? Get to know people, build up that rapport, you know, and even have like a weekly meeting with someone. Like if you try to like build an SEO community yourself where you can like say, hey, let's just have a scrum meeting. Like that's what I did before. Like I had a scrum meeting with like everybody in our Slack group. And I was like, every day we're going to have a 15-minute meeting where we just talk about what we're doing, what we're testing, what we're working on, just to motivate each other. And then if something comes up where we can help each other, then we just share that knowledge, right? And people will do it. Yeah, do that. Find those people, work with those people.